Today I'm going to show you all the tools you need to start sewing for beginners. I'm only going to go through the essentials today. There are nice to haves which you can get down the road, but this is what I started with about 3 to 4 years ago and it worked well for me. I'll basically go through all the items you'll need, and then I'll talk about what to consider with each purchase and what you can expect when you start sewing. If you're a beginner to sewing, I always recommend as a first sewing project a tote bag. I actually have a tutorial video on that if you search up how to sew tote bag Allan or GA008. Each of my videos I go through step by step the instructions from the beginning to the end on how to sew it, and I also have links for free sewing patterns and DIY kits. It's basically a package with all the supplies you'll need for that project, so you don't have to go out to a shop and get all the fabrics, the thread, and the patterns. It's one kit that covers everything. And for this video, for tools to start sewing, I'll have links below which has all the items that I'm using. So if you want to streamline the process, just click the link and get all the items I have and let's start sewing. So let's get started. Tool number 1, sewing machine. Everyone has different views from this. People are very brand loyal. I myself have only used a Singer, so I can only speak from my own experiences. But this is the machine that I use. It's a Singer 4423. It's a heavy duty machine, so it can handle heavier fabrics like denim and possibly some leathers. And it comes with a good amount of stitching options here. A lot of stores carry this model, and a good amount of people have recommended it from the sewing communities online, which means there's also a lot of them on the secondhand market if you want to try buying used first. I've been using this machine since 2016 and it's worked well for me, so that's why I would recommend it. I would say buy the first option, don't buy with the accessory kit, because this link for this machine will actually come with a few different tools here, different sewing feet that you'll need, and you don't really need the accessory kit because I'm going to go through some of the other tools that you'll need anyways. The second tool I'd recommend are fabric scissors. These are made for cutting fabrics, so the cut will be a lot smoother and cleaner in comparison to kitchen scissors. This is actually an older pair that I have, so there isn't a link on Amazon for this specific model, but I'll have a link for other Singer scissors. Or you can go to your local fabric shop. I'm sure they have scissors. They usually use those big heavy duty ones, so just be aware that they might be a little bit heavier, a little bit extreme for just normal household sewing, but definitely good quality. Now the third item, if you're watching this, you're probably a beginner, and so I would definitely recommend getting a seam ripper. It's used for cutting seams, really good if you plan on doing upcycling for taking apart clothes, or if you're a beginner or more experienced like I am and you still make mistakes. I also use mine to cut the inside of buttonholes instead of buying the buttonhole puncher. Some machines come with a mini seam ripper, but you can see the handle's so tiny you can only get a few fingers on it. And if you're using this often, I would definitely recommend just getting a bigger handle right at the beginning. Item number 4, sewing rulers. They're usually transparent, which is super helpful. When you're looking to buy one, consider the units of measurements that they come in. I have 2. This one comes in inches and centimeters, whereas this one only comes in inches. And having used both versions, I actually prefer this one for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is the unit of measurement on both sides of the ruler. I work exclusively in inches. I've just become accustomed to it, so I just prefer using this because I never ever really touch the centimeter side. And reason number 2, this ruler, the measurement starts right at the edge of the ruler, whereas this one has some kind of like 2mm buffer. And so I prefer this one because then I can start the chalk line on the edge knowing that that's where the measurement starts, versus this one, it's like a little bit off. So when you're buying a ruler online, look out for the unit of measurements, where the measurement starts at the edge or not, if that matters to you. I've seen some ruler kits with the circular rulers and such. I've never used them in like the 3 or 4 years I've been sewing, but for beginners, if you're just looking for the basic tools, essentials that you need for a sewing kit, one fabric ruler will do. In addition to these rulers is also to get measuring tape. They're all pretty similar, just make sure it has inches and centimeters just in case, and that it's made of this vinyl material so it's flexible and it doesn't stretch. Item number 5 is Tailor's chalk. These are used to draw lines on your fabric, and they come in different colors, which at first, when I first started, I only had the white chalk, which is useful, but when it comes to lighter fabrics, it's really hard to see the lines. So I've actually found these multicolored ones to be a lot more helpful. As a heads up, some materials, it's going to be difficult to use a chalk, whether you use chalk, a pencil. especially things like mesh. I have a DIY kit for mesh shorts coming out, and that is going to be a hard fabric for the chalk to stick and make straight lines. A lot of other fabrics might not absorb the chalk the same way, so it really doesn't matter if you use a pen, a pencil, or chalk. It's going to be difficult either way, but it's still better than nothing. I don't have a link for this exact pack of chalk, but when you're looking online or in a shop for chalk, really look into the reviews and find one that washes off easily. Some chalk doesn't wash away as easily as others, and you actually need a brush to wash off some of the chalk. So just be aware of that because it could damage the fabric or cause some kind of color inconsistency. Otherwise, if you can't decide, just buy the chalk and try to draw on the wrong side of the fabric so you can hide the chalk marks. And item number 6, pins or clips. I am a clip guy, a lot easier and quicker to use, but there's some situations where you need a pin because a clip can only clip the edges, whereas a pin can get in the middle of fabric. Pins are sharp and make me nervous, so I'd recommend starting off with pins, but get clips if you can. Careful when you're using pins and ironing. I've used a pin and accidentally melted this little pearl ball that's on the edge, so just watch out for that. And the clips. I bought mine in a store, but I'll include a link for you to buy one online. I'd recommend the 100-pack ones. I bought the 50-pack one, and there's been situations where I'm in a project and I've actually used up all my clips, so I had to resort to pins after. You can also use these stationary clips. They're a lot stronger, but work the exact same. So if you have these laying around at home, I'd definitely use these as well. Those are the basic sewing tools that you'll need, but some other things around the house that are also very useful is to have a lamp or some kind of external light for better visibility, especially when you're working on projects late at night. Everyone needs it for those late night sessions. Random heavy objects to use as weights to hold down pattern paper, and tweezers for getting like really small threads out. And if you're new to sewing, there's a bunch of sewing tutorials on my channel with free sewing patterns. I even have DIY kits on my website, which I'll have in the link below. You just go on gloryallan.com, get the kit sent to your house, get the package, press play, and sew away. That's all I have for this video today. So subscribe and hit that notification button so you can stay tuned to the latest sewing tutorials that I put out. I have beginner projects, expert projects. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.